How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm alright. It's good seeing you back. Playing bigger venues in Wales, which is great.
It's always a good thing. The bigger's not always better, but
Is this the biggest?
Yeah. Is this the biggest?
Brixton's tomorrow, right?
Brixton is tomorrow, and I'm not exactly sure what the size difference is. So I can't tell you.
Yet.
Yeah.
So how's the tour been?
Tour's been fantastic. You know, like just like any other tour, there are hitches and glitches here and there. Especially, you know, we've got a lot of production going on this tour, and the problem with living in the United States and having your production created in the UK is there's not really time to do like dress rehearsal and run through with all that stuff. So, like, you know, first day of the tour was not for the band necessarily, but for everybody else who's trying to make the show go off, was just like, you know, major panic fest trying to get all the kinks worked out and chase all the ghosts out of the machine and whatever. And so they got that done the first night, and then so this far into the tour, last night, 3 nights from the end, we hit the 3 biggest venues that we're doing on the entire tour. Pardon me.
That's cool.
And we hit the 3 largest venues that we're doing on the tour, and we added
pyro, right?
Well, we added just a ton more stuff. Basically, now we added another semi truck worth of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so then last night was kind of like the first night again, having all this new gear, getting it all worked out, and there were a couple of glitches, nothing really to speak of, but you know, just a couple of little minor things that got worked out last night on the fly, and so hopefully tonight everything is gonna run smoothly, so that by the time we get to London tomorrow, we'll be shooting a live DVD.
I did hear about that
at Brixton tomorrow. So tonight, I guess. Last night was the dress rehearsal. Tonight is the night that we get everything right, and then tomorrow's the one where you cross your fingers and hope that everything still continues to go right.
Yeah, definitely. So, what I thought I'd do is I picked up the album the other day. See, still in its cellophane pack. And it's kind of like an unboxing, but I kind of just wanted to go through it with you.
All right.
Like artwork, tracks. So this is probably my second favorite. I actually like Lunch Drunk Love.
Oh, right on.
I think that's great. This is great as well, but
I appreciate it.
It's my favorite album.
Lunch Drunk Love's a little bit of an angrier.
That's probably why I like it. I'm a hardcore kid, so I'm like. It's also nice to see you, and it's probably going to make me sound like a dick. Nice to see you on tour without patent pending, because I see you so many times with them, and obviously it's like a friendship type thing.
Right.
It's nice to see you bringing Aquabats out and
changing it up. Yeah. I get it. And we do that from time to time. It's like, you know, go out with folks for a little piece of time, then it's like, okay, time to change it up and whatever. Yeah. Not that we totally got sick of those guys.
Yeah.
And don't show this to anybody from patent pending. I love you guys.
All gonna be tagged in it.
You're our baby brothers.
Was there any idea to do this tour in tuxes, or was that just like?
Oh no! That wasn't even close to discussed. Like
for proper Johnny Cash bands, those are just stinking of sweat.
Those are actually on the wall at our rehearsal space.
Are they
right now? Yeah.
Oh wow.
Actually, they're not on the wall yet. They're at our rehearsal space to be hung on the wall.
In a box somewhere.
Yeah. No, they're out. They're out.
All right.
We just haven't hung them yet. So
this was the follow-up to Let's Do It for Johnny.
Yes.
I mean, which is your most commercial album, like the first major label?
The first major label album, yeah.
So, I mean, was there much pressure to do this one, or did they just kind of let you do it?
I mean, it's an odd question because I guess there was. I mean, it was like we've got to, if we want to continue to do this, like this one is either it's going to happen or it's not, and if it doesn't happen, we probably won't be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and so we went for the first time with a serious outside producer, and Butch Walker produced this album at his studio Ruby Red in Atlanta. His then studio, that's not there anymore, but it was just kind of a different, you know, very much a learning experience for us, as well as a I don't, you know, years gone by, certain memories fade just a little bit, but now that I start thinking about it, you saying this, it was like, this has either got to do something serious or this is all going to go away tomorrow. And luckily, things went well with the album, and it was, and I just remember being in the studio with Butch. One of the first things that he said was like, "Oh man, this is going to be a great album. Don't worry about it. Making records is easy and fun." And we have held on to that mantra, like we've clung to that since that first day that he said it. And it's like, you're right, making records is easy and fun. It does not need to be stressful.
No.
And when it starts getting stressful, you need to stop, and you need to take a break, go get something to eat, go take a walk around the block, do something, reset yourself, and come back, because it doesn't have to be that hard. Sometimes we just make it harder than it needs to be.
Yeah. Have you got a favorite track? You've probably been asked it all on tour. Have you got a favorite track on it?
You know, it's
because some of my favorite tracks are on it. Like Life After Lisa.
Life After Lisa is a great one.
On and On About You, I think it's that.
On and On About You is fantastic. Surf Colorado is one of my favorites. Emily.
Are you playing it all, or are you playing one or two songs that aren't on there?
Well, I mean, we're playing the whole album, and then we've got other songs that aren't on the album sprinkled in.
Right.
So we're a little crunched for time in our set. I mean, this is an 18-track album, and
it's full of bangers.
And well, okay, it's a 19-track album, but the album was re-released after, in the state, it started off as a 16-track album.
Okay.
And then, we sold like 250,000 in the States, and our genius record label is like, well, you know how we sell more albums? Is you go back in the studio and you put 3 more songs on it, and then we re-release it with 3 more songs on it. And it's like, that's one of the stupidest ideas I've ever heard. But
was Belgium one of those songs?
Belgium was not. No, Belgium is the hidden track on here.
Right. Okay.
And so it was on there to begin with, but without that, you wouldn't have songs like Punk Rock 101 or Star Song or Greatest Day, that was originally written for a video game.
Okay.
That didn't happen. But the one song off of this album that we will not be playing is I Ran, because it's a cover.
Yeah.
And we think it came out fine.
Yeah.
It was they brought in a different producer to produce the one track.
Yeah.
And we didn't all particularly get along, and he didn't have the most positive things to, we never said anything negative about him, but he didn't have the most positive things to say about us whenever he left the studio. And so it was like, so we've all got a little bit of a dirty taste in our mouth about that one. So it's like, you know what, that's a cover anyway, we don't have to play it.
Yeah. So, was there any other ideas to do a cover, because I know you guys just love 80s stuff, so I was imagining there's 100,000 songs in that.
There's just you mean on this tour or on this album?
No, just on this album. Was it always going to be Iran, or was it another?
It was always going to be Iran, but then they're like, oh, we got this one guy who's worked with all these people, and he's going to be the perfect dude to do this. And it's like, well, but we kind of wanted to do it in the same vibe that we've been. No, you're going to use this guy, and this is what's going to happen. And it's like, oh, okay, all right.
Just bite your tongue and get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, because at some point there are times when you're working with a record label that you don't get to have a say in things sometimes. And so, but as far as favorite songs, man, I mean, I really like them all.
It's almost like a greatest hits album.
It's hard to pick one. I mean, I really like Emily in Surf, Colorado, but I mean, take this away from me. I can't pick one.
Pick your favorite child.
Yeah, exactly.
So with the photo shoots, I mean, this was all just the tuxes were all one day, and it was just taking photos in the studio, or was this all just in rehearsal space? And
all of this is like the live shots. Like these guys here are in. They're in the studio that we had been recording all of our demos in, but the tux photos were actually in the photographer's studio.
Oh, okay.
And so here you go, interesting fact. The tuxedos that Jarrett and I are wearing.
Okay.
They do not appear in the movie, but they were made for Jeff Daniels to wear in Dumb and Dumber.
Really?
Yeah, so they were purchased from that prop department. They were made for that. I believe his tux ended up being like lime green, but they made these jackets and pants.
Oh, wow.
For that character, but they ended up not using them, and so that's what we bought them for. So they were originally made to be in Dumb and Dumber, which is fantastic.
Did you wear them out in the town, or was it literally put these on in the studio and then don't go anywhere?
We wore them to the Grammys.
Okay.
Because we were nominated for a Grammy in 2003 for Girl the Bad Guys once. So we wore the jackets and the frilly shirts and bow ties, and managed to find Puma actually makes a suede powder blue shoe.
Okay.
And so we bought matching shoes, and then found some darker blue nice rock and roll Dickies shorts to wear that looked good with them, and that's what we wore to the Grammys.
Oh, wow.
So when you're watching the broadcast, like, obviously all of our families taped it back in the day when you taped stuff. Like the camera will pan across the audience, and it's this sea of black, and then these 4 powder blue tuxes right in the middle of a sea of black, and so it's like there was no denying where we were sitting. Everybody could see us.
Awesome. Well, like I say, it's my second favorite album.
Right on.
I'm looking forward to seeing it, and
the rest of the photos, on the inside are all just kind of around Dallas and us hanging out. One of the interesting things back here on the back, if you'll notice, it just says police, and you can see behind Jarrett's head where it says AS Police. That's just a buddy who was a cop who happened to be in the area, and we were like, he was like, can I come by and just see you guys, what's going on when you take your photos? And it's like, yeah. Hey, can we get our picture in front of your car? And he's like, yeah, can I really put you in handcuffs? Sure. So he actually handcuffed us all and set us down in front of his car, and we took that picture, and it made it on there. But he wasn't supposed to be there, and we didn't have permission to use a Dallas police car, so they had to Photoshop out. So they didn't go so far as to Photoshop out all of Dallas. They just Photoshopped out DALL, and so it still says Ass Police on the side of the car there.
That's awesome, dude. It's always great catching up with you.
Yeah,
talking stuff.
You as well, man.
And